So I've made some pretty controversial videos on this channel before, but I think this might stand out as the most controversial video so far because I do not think anyone should be buying a Rolex in 2024. Now we're going to get deeper into this in this video, but before we get into all that, leave a like and drop a subscribe down below. It'll be massively appreciated and really help the channel out. So obviously Rolex are the kings of the luxury watch world. They are the most trending, the most purchased, and the most valuable watches arguably on the entire planet. They have increased over time on the second-hand market and can actually resell for a lot more money than they're bought for. I think that's really interesting because personally I would never pick up a Rolex watch. There's so many other amazing brands out there and there's actually too many to name. So before I get any further, I just want to clarify something. I'm not going to be mentioning any other watches that are better than a Rolex watch in this video. That's for a different day. I'm going to be showcasing Rolex watches and telling you guys why you should not buy them. Now, their timepieces are very overpriced in a few ways. A lot of people agree with me in the watch community. I've had a lot of conversations with people who have been collecting watches for a very long time and they just can't see where the value for money comes into play on the second-hand market with these Rolex watches when there's a lot of other timepieces out there you can be picking up. But I think this iconic branding that Rolex have attached to themselves is absolutely mental and has driven them through the roof and will always cement themselves as the kings of the watch world. They are the most prestigious and elegant watches anyone can obtain according to a lot of other people in the watch community, but I just don't see how this is true. Yes, a lot of their models are pretty interesting, but if you go onto social media or any other platform and search for watches, the majority of stuff you're going to see is a Rolex timepiece. To me, it's becoming a little bit boring when there's hundreds of brands out there that you can be exploring. Why don't you actually become a watch collector and pick up about 100 timepieces for the value of one Rolex? You can create so many memories wearing a watch. It doesn't matter what timepiece that is, and a lot of other watches stand out just as much as a Rolex watch. I don't think the perception on the actual brand is ever going to change, and I always believe that Rolex are going to remain the kings of the watch world. I'm not trying to put any hate on the actual Rolex brand either. I don't want to come across as a poor boy who can't afford one of their watches, and that's the only reason I'm hating on them, because I have been accused of that in the past. I'm sure Rolex don't need to be taking any bit of advice from me whatsoever. It's an extremely successful company that is somehow also a charity. You can do your own research into that, it's pretty interesting, but they're absolutely succeeding in every way. I also think it's really strange that you can't just walk into a Rolex AD and pick up a Rolex watch if you want. Obviously guys, AD stands for authorized dealer. The majority of authorized dealers are going to make you buy a bunch of other timepieces that are less valuable or less desirable before they allow you to buy a Rolex watch from them. And they might make a few excuses for this, but it's absolutely ridiculous in so many ways, and you don't see Rolex trying to shut this down in any way possible, which is I think a bit crude and disgusting from the brand. If anything, they're kind of encouraging this by not putting any sort of regulations in place. You don't see any other brand really doing it, and sometimes you can actually be forced to buy a Tudor watch instead of a Rolex, which is pretty interesting, or you can sit on like a 4 or 5 year wait list and hopefully one day get a call to come and buy your watch. So I'd actually advise a lot of people, if you don't have the money now and you want to buy a Rolex watch brand new, then maybe go into an authorized dealer and just inquire about it. I'm not really someone that wants to go and pick up a watch for an investment purchase. I think that's always going to remain kind of skeptical and risky in my eyes. Even though Rolex has outperformed something like gold in the past 10 years, I just can't imagine going and spending that much money on a Rolex watch for one singular investment to keep safe and hope it doesn't get stolen or robbed, and I can't wear it whatsoever. I personally have a genuine passion for wearing watches and collecting them, and every single watch I own I wear. I'd actually be terrified to wear a Rolex watch anywhere in big major cities, but again, if you disagree with me, let me know, and subscribe for another daily upload tomorrow. So I've made some pretty controversial videos on this channel before, but I think this might stand out as the most controversial video so far because I do not think anyone should be buying a Rolex in 2024. Now we're going to get deeper into this in this video, but before we get into all that, leave a like and drop a subscribe down below. It'll be massively appreciated and really help the channel out. So obviously Rolex is the kings of the luxury watch world.